Welcome to the fifth session of Revision through MCQ series. In this session, we are going to discuss about the age of Mahajanapadas. I hope that you have already watched the earlier videos. The link for those videos are given in the description box. Now, the first basic question, what do you mean by the age of Mahajanapadas? The time between 6th century BC and 4th century BC in India is considered as the age of the Mahajanapadas. And by this time, the transition was complete from Jana. Early Vedic time, the people, they were in the form of Jana, tribals, to Janpad. In later Vedic times, the people, they had already got converted into a settled form of polity and society, and that was in the form of Janpad. But by this time, in the age of Mahajanapada, the Janpadas, they emerged as powerful kingdoms, and they would be called the Mahajanapadas. So in ancient India, a super important concept is the transition from Jana to Janapad to Mahajanpad. This was the age of the rise of Mahajanapads. Now see the first question. It says that the first coins used in India were the punch mark coin. Now we have to know that in the age of Mahajanapadas, for the first time, the coins were used, and the first coins they were used were the punch mark coin. Now, what do you mean by punch mark coin? Basically, the punch mark coin, they were like cut pieces of silver metal, mostly made up of silver, on which the symbols were punched on them. That is why they were called the punch mark coin. Now, for the first time, the use of coins in India started in times of the age of Mahajanapadas. Now, additional information that we can have here is that in Vedic age, we get the reference of Nishka and Satmana. Nishka and Satmana were also used for transaction, and they were coin-like objects, but they were not proper coins. So basically, they were not any proper coins used in the Vedic age. The coins were used for the first time in the age of Mahajanapadas, and they were the punch mark coin. So the first statement is correct. The second statement says that writing reappeared in India in times of Mahajanapadas. It is again correct. Look, first time writing was there in times of Indus Valley civilization, and it was mainly a pictographic script that the people used. But so far we have not been able to decipher that. After IVC, writing disappeared and writing again appeared in the age of Mahajanapadas around 2 centuries before the time of Ashoka. This is what R.S. Sharma would say. So again, it is again correct to say that writing reappeared in India in times of the age of Mahajanapadas. And this was the time writing would be in the form of a script that would be called Brahmi script mainly. Now, if you see the next question, it says that what is the correct chronological order in which following appeared in India? Urban culture was in IVC as well. They were urban people. Iron plow, the use started in prominent form basically in Vedic age. Again, if we talk about the punch mark coin, just now we have discussed that for the first time they were used in the age of Mahajanapadas. And then you talk about gold coins. In India, the gold coins for the first time in proper form, casted, molded gold coin, they were issued by the Indo-Greeks in the post-Mauryan age. And if this is so, the correct chronological sequence is 4, 3, 2 and 1. So answer here is very simple, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is the answer. The next question says that consider the following statements. The capital of Avanti was Taxila. So Avanti was a very important Mahajanpad. Now, just see the map and try to figure out some additional information here as well. That when you talk about the age of Mahajanapadas, there is a Buddhist literature that is called Anguttara Nikaya. And when you talk about Anguttara Nikaya, it talks about 16 Mahajanapadas. Now, when you talk about the 16 Mahajanapadas, one very important Mahajanpad was Avanti, and it got two capitals. One was Ujjain and one was Mahismati. Then again important kingdom or Mahajanpad was Matsya Mahajanpad. The capital of Matsya was Virat or Bairat. In northwest, important Mahajanpad was Kamboja. The capital was Rajapura. Another Mahajanpad was Gandhara. The capital was super famous Taxila or Takshashila. In the area that was ruled by Kuru, Mahajanpad would be called Kurukshetra, and it got two capitals. One of them was Hastinapur. Hastinapur, it was on the banks of Ganga river, and one of them was Indraprastha. That was on the banks of Yamuna river. So Hastinapur, it was on the banks of Ganga river. Indraprastha, it was on the bank of Yamuna river. Panchala, another Mahajanpad, two important capitals were Ahichatra and Kampilya. Then Kosala Mahajanpad, the two important capitals of Kosala Janpad, they were Shravasti and Saket. Additional information, Saket was also called Ayodhya. Then, if we talk about Surasen Mahajanpad, the capital was Mathura. Then, if we talk about some other Mahajanpads, see their capitals as well. Vatsa, the capital was Kausambi. Mahajanpad of Chaitya, the capital was Suktimati. The easternmost Mahajanpad was Anga. The capital was Champa or Champa Nagri. Then the Mallas, they were like a republican tribe and they got two capitals. One was Pavapuri and one was Kushinara. In last video we discussed that in Kushinara or Kushinagar, Buddha passed away, and in Pavapuri, Mahavira passed away. Then Vriji, they were another republican tribe, and they were basically group of 8 republican tribes. The most important among them, they were Lichavis, and their capital was at Vaishali. Then Kashi, Mahajanpad, the capital was Varanasi. Based on the confluence of Varuna and Asi river, it was called Varanasi. Then the super important Mahajanpad was Magadha. The most powerful Mahajanpad was Magadha. The initial capital of Magadha was Rajagriha. And the later capital of Magadha was Pataliputra. Then these were the 16 Mahajanpads in between the 6th and 4th century BC in India, explained in the Buddhist literature Anguttara Nikaya. Now, see this question. It says that the capital of Avanti was Taxila. It's wrong. Just now we have discussed that the capital of Avanti, there were two, Ujjain and Mahismati. Then the second statement says that the capital of Kosala was Kausambi. Again, that is wrong, because the capital of Kosala, there were two. One was Saket and one was Shravasti. Just now we have discussed that. So the second statement again goes wrong. The next question says that which one of the following was initially the most powerful city-state of India in the 6th century BC? 6th century BC, you are talking about the age of Mahajanapadas. And the age of Mahajanapadas, the most powerful Mahajanpad initially was, just now we discussed through the map, it was Magadha. So answer here would be D. The next question says that the first ruler to have a standing army was, so the first powerful Mahajanpad was Magadha. And Magadha became very prominent in the rule of Haryanka dynasty. And Haryanka dynasty, the first powerful ruler was Bimbisar. Bimbisar was so powerful because he was the first ruler in ancient India to have the permanent standing army. So answer here would be C. Now, what do you mean by standing army? That the state would have a permanent army with itself. Earlier, what was the situation? That in the time of the fight, king would be supported by the tribal chiefs. But now the situation changed with the age of Mahajanapadas, and the states, they started having very powerful standing armies. Bimbisar, the first ruler in ancient India to have a permanent standing army. The next question says that what is the correct chronological order? Now, the first prominent ruler of Magadha was Bimbisar from Haryanka dynasty. Just now we discussed about Bimbisar. Son of Bimbisar was a powerful ruler, Ajatasattu. And then after that, Haryanka dynasty's rule came the time of the Shishunagas. The Shishunaga dynasty, a powerful ruler was Kalashoka. So after Ajatasattu, there would be chronology of Kalashoka. And after Shishunagas, there was rule of the Nandas. A ruler was Dhananand. He was the last Nanda ruler, and in his times Chandragupta Maurya captured throne and established Mauryan dynasty. So the answer here is simple. The chronology would be 4, 3, 2, 1. Answer here is simple. 4, 3, 2 and 1. That is the chronology. The next question says that Vasakar was. Now Vasakar, it is a Pali word. Actually, Vasakar would be called Varshakar. And Varshakar was a powerful minister of Ajatasattu. The Varshakar reference we get in literature in ancient India because he supported Ajatasattu in defeating the Lichavis. Just now through map we discussed that the Vrijis, they were a group of 8 republican tribes, and the most powerful, they were the Lichavis, with the capital at Vaishali. And when Magadha was expanding, the Lichavis, they had to be defeated. Varshakar gave instrumental support to Ajatasattu in defeating the Lichavis. So the answer is simple. Varshakar was minister of Ajatasattu. The next question says that which one of the following dynasties was ruling over North India at the time of Alexander's invasion? अब याद रखेंगे that when you talk about the Nanda dynasty, the last ruler was Dhananand. And in times of Dhananand, 2 super important things would be that first, Alexander would invade India in 325 BC. And second, that Chandragupta Maurya captured power and established Mauryan dynasty. So this was the Dhanananda's rule and the Nanda dynasty's time in which Alexander invaded India. अब मन की बात में एक मैप भी देख लीजिए that when you talk about Alexander, he was from Macedonia. Now through the Turkish area, Asia Minor, later would be called Turkey, and crossing through Iraq-like area, capturing the areas, and crossing and capturing the areas of Iran, moving towards Afghan areas, he invaded India through the Khyber Pass. Now Alexander was successful in defeating the rulers like Ambi very easily, but porous. gave a tough fight to Alexander in the famous battle that was on the banks of Jhelum river, and this is something that is called the Battle of Hydaspes. So much impressed was Alexander with the bravery of Porus that he returned the kingdom of Porus. That is what the description we get. Alexander returned, and later Alexander died in 323 BC in Babylon. Now, with this information, it's super easy to solve this question that Alexander and Porus, they fought the famous battle on the banks of river Jhelum that would be called the Battle of Hydaspes. Another question is that the capital was shifted to Patliputra by. First, you should know that the initial capital of Magadha was Rajagriha. Rajagriha was also called Girivraja because it was surrounded by 5 hills. Later, the city of Patliputra was established by Ajatasattu, and later one of the successors of Ajatasattu, Udayin, shifted the capital to Patliputra. So answer here would be Udayin. अब याद रखेंगे, the city of Patliputra was established by Ajatasattu, but the capital was shifted by one of his successors, Udayin. The next question says that the most important port in east was Bhrigukachcha. And the second statement says that the most important port in west was Tamralipti. The first statement goes wrong because Bhrigukachcha basically was Bharoch. Bharoch, a super important port in Gujarat area. In ancient time it was. So in west, the most important port in ancient India was Bharoch or Bhrigukachcha. The first statement goes wrong. Tamralipti was in Bengal. And the most important port in ancient India in east, in ancient time, it was Tamralipti. So if you say that the most important port in west was Tamralipti, the second statement goes wrong as well. See the map. Figure out Bharoch. It was also called Bhrigukachcha. The most important port in west in ancient India. Then figure out Tamralipti in Bengal. The most important port in east in ancient India was the port of Tamralipti. One more question. It is asking about Vedangas. Now, first of all, you should know that by the age of Mahajanapadas, the Vedangas, they were added as the part of the literature. Vedangas basically were there to help in study of the Vedas. And we know about the 6 Vedangas. So what were the 6 Vedangas? First, it was Kalpa. What was Kalpa? It emphasized on the study of the rituals. Next was Siksha. What was Siksha? Phonetics. Then Vyakaran. What was Vyakaran? Grammar, the rules of the language. Then Jyotish. What was Jyotish? Astronomy. Now you have to be careful here that when you talk about Jyotish, R.S. Sharma says that in ancient time, basically it was a scientific knowledge like astronomy and was not astrology. But later a lot of spirituality was mixed into it and then it got transformed into astrology like thing. Then Nirukt basically was etymology. So what do you mean by etymology? The study how the words are basically made with the use of different roots. That is what is something that is called etymology. Then Chanda was rhythm. The Vedic mantras, they would be in rhythm, and the study of this rhythm was called Chanda Vedanga. Now it is super important to know about Vedangas, because Vedangas were an important part of Vedic literature, would help in study the Vedas. Now see the question. It says that Nirukta was related to rhythm. No, Nirukta was basically etymology. And with rhythm, Chanda was connected. So first goes wrong. The second says that Kalpa was related with etymology. Again, that goes wrong. Kalpa was connected with rituals. Now, this is what I wanted to discuss with you in this session of revision through MCQ series. Very soon I would be there with the next session, and that would be on modern age. Thank you so much.